What if I told you that you've been handling objections wrong this entire time? And in the next 9 minutes, I'll show you how to respond to every single one. So the next time you hear, "I'm not ready," you'll know exactly what to say and why it works. I've generated over $1 million in sales using this objection handling framework. And today, I'm going to break down every single objection possible. Let's dive in. Before I begin, I genuinely do not think there's a better objection handling video on YouTube right now. This is what my clients are paying me thousands of dollars for, and this is what you are about to get for free. So with that being said, the objection handling playbook. Now, before you even think about making money with appointment setting or closing or whatever it might be, there is one thing you need to know. And that's that sales isn't about convincing, it's about removing fear from the prospects or the leads. Now, if you can't handle objections properly, you are losing a lot of money. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the exact mental frameworks that will stop you from burning through leads ever again. That problem will go right out the window. Now, first of all, let's go through the online sales process. This is pretty simple. The content brings in the leads, the setter qualifies, and the closer closes, right? And you have the funnel here. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Now, there is two types of sales here. There is appointment setting and there is closing. But here is the problem. Most people think objections only happen on the sales calls, where in reality, this is wrong. Objections happen before and during the sale, and if you can't handle them right, you are burning through leads and you're essentially just losing money. And that's why today I'm going to break down every single objection an appointment setter faces. But first, what is an objection? An objection is a belief or a fear that stops someone from buying something, whether it's a false belief, whether it's an experience, whatever it might be. Now, objection one that I want to dive into is how much is it? You've probably seen it before. It is not fun to deal with. Where does this come from? There's two different ways. One is uncertainty, where they're not sure if the value inside is worth it. And another one is they want to avoid commitment. They want to be able to say no without making a decision, without any other information. So the common mistakes you are probably making is you price drop, you sound vague, or you try to sell. And price drop essentially is when you say the price in the DMs, and this results in the lead creating instant objections in their mind, thinking, I can't afford this, or I don't want to do this, it's too expensive, whatever it might be. Do not price drop whatever you do. The second way is sounding vague. They beat around the bush, and this is pretty much just avoiding the main thing they want to know. And this is like a skill issue, right? This is what beginners do. Now, the final way is to try to sell. And that's where the closer comes in, right? You should not be closing as a TM setter at all. So don't try to sell. That is one of the biggest mistakes people make. Now, what you should do instead is reframe the conversation to keep authority. So I'm happy to share the price on call. I just want to make sure this would even work for you first. Sound fair? So you kind of acknowledge what they're saying, you keep the authority, and you kind of just say, yeah, I just want to make sure this would even make sense for you. This would even work because I have no idea if it works for you. So why would I tell you the price? Sound fair? They say, yeah, you continue the conversation, you book them in for a call. Now, objection number two is, can you explain it here? Where does this come from? This usually comes from the fear of being sold to, or they just don't trust you. And this is kind of like a report issue, meaning that maybe you didn't build a conversation enough in the setting process, and now they just don't trust you. So they're worried that you're going to try pressure sell them, or you're going to waste their time. Think about it. Would you want to buy something if someone was forcing you to buy it? Probably not. Now, the common mistakes a setter will make is they're going to try explain everything in detail in the setting process, not in the closing process. They're going to sound like a scammy salesman by mistake because they're pushing too hard, or they're going to get defensive or pushy. Now, what you should do instead is validate them. Reframe the call as an opportunity for them to learn more, and then give them the authority. For example, you acknowledge, yeah, I get that. Honestly, it's a call for you to learn more about everything in detail. There's no pressure for you to buy anything, especially if you don't need it. If you don't feel like the call will be helpful, that's fair, right? And what we do here is we give them the authority. We reframe it for them. We're helping them. They're not helping us. We don't need their money. We're helping them learn more, and we're validating them. So that's the order you want to do it in. What I showed you, acknowledge, kind of tell them this is an opportunity for them, and then say, if you don't feel like this is helpful, that's okay. Make them feel like they have a choice. Now, objection number three you're going to see is, I don't do calls. Usually this isn't about the call. It's either ego, fear, or they just don't trust you. They've either been sold to before and it pissed them off or it annoyed them. They think they're too busy or too important. They have this ego, or they just don't trust you, meaning you weren't able to build rapport enough, whatever it might be. Now, the common mistakes people are going to make is they're going to try sell in the setting process, they're going to get defensive or annoyed, or they're going to back down and say, no worries, law. And I've seen this happen so many times. But this is how you lose authority. Do not do this. Now, what you should do instead, and I'm going to give you two examples, is acknowledge and then say, I get that honestly, Just curious though, is it because you've had a bad experience before, or do you just prefer texting? Example 1, we are just getting clarity and figuring out why do they not want to get on the call. Now example 2 is slightly different, and I spelled something wrong here, but it's, to be honest, I don't really treat this like a sales call. It's more of a call for me to see if I can help you out and give value where I can. Once again, you're portraying it as beneficial for them, and then you say, then obviously if it makes sense too, we can look at working together. Sound fair? There's no pressure, there's no bullshit. You are here to help them out, do them a favor, and give them the value they desire. This is the right way to do it. So I just give you 2 examples. You could use either, and they're both very, very beneficial. But if you hear this often, you are the problem. You need to understand that. Throughout your conversations, you should ask yourself these 3 things. 1, do they like me? Did I build enough rapport? 2, do they open up to me? Did I give them enough pain? And 3, do they trust me? Do I have the authority where I know what I'm talking about and they understand that I am competent in my industry and in my niche? A good setter can do this. So if you ask yourself these 3 things and you say yes to each, it means you're doing something right. If it's no to one of them, you need to fix your sales process and your setting experience. Objection number 4 is I am not ready. Where does this come from? This does not mean no. It means I'm not 100% sure yet. So either they lack trust in you or the offer. There's uncertainty around this is the right time or the move for them, and they have the fear of being sold to. Now, the common mistakes you're probably going to make as a setter is you're pushing too hard and you sound very desperate. You're trying to convince them instead of helping them see your perspective or the right perspective. And then you're getting defensive or just not replying at all. Not what you should do. What you should do instead is validate them and get clarity that you need. So totally get it. Most people aren't 100% ready straight away. Out of curiosity, what do you feel like you need to be ready? This is a good way to do it. You get clarity and you figure out what they're thinking and what is on their mind. The truth is they probably won't buy yet, but it takes 3 conversations on average to book a call. This is just you planting a seed for the future, and you need to look at it like that. Now, the last but probably the most difficult objection out of all of these is I've been scammed before. And this comes from pure pain, right? So they trusted someone before, they got scammed, and now they feel like you might just be another scammer. And we want to completely dissolve this belief. So the common mistakes you are going to make as a setter is you're going to try prove you're not a scammer with testimonials or guarantees way too early. You're going to get defensive or trying to convince them, or you are going to avoid the objection altogether. This is so stupid, but you want to make sure they feel like they can trust you. So what you should do instead is obviously acknowledge. So honestly, I get that. That shit sucks. I've had a lot of guys come to me after getting burned. It's frustrating when you trust someone and get nothing back. With that, I don't think the solution is to stop trusting entirely, but being more specific on who you trust. I totally respect if this isn't for you, even then I'm happy to show you everything in detail. You essentially acknowledge them, you make them realize that you understand where they're coming from, and giving kind of your opinion in a very nice, subtle way without being a dick. And then you're also saying, you know, if you feel like this isn't something that's for you, that's totally okay. But if you want to see the details, I'm happy to do that. No pressure selling, whatever it might be, I'm happy to help you out. This is a way better way to do it. You want to make them realize that there is a difference between risk and calculated risk. And calculated risk is working with you because there's a guarantee or there's a high success rate or whatever it might be. These 5 objections are 90% of what you'll face as a setter. But just to be safe, I'm going to do you one better. And I'm going to give you the strategy I use to handle any objections. Now, this is called the ACA strategy. This is the objection handling strategy. We want to acknowledge, connect, and answer. So acknowledging is essentially showing them that you're listening to them. And it's as simple as, yeah, I hear you, or that makes sense. When you skip this, people feel unheard and they just do not trust you. And think about it, we all hate that person who doesn't listen to us and just talks and talks and talks and talks. Now, connect is you relating to them. You show them you understand where they're coming from and you see their perspective and you see their opinion. And there's 2 good ways to do this. You can share an experience. A lot of guys have helped who are in a similar situation, where you can relate personally. I had the same problem with X. And this is the final bit. This is the answer. Now that they feel heard, you want to reframe the objection with clarity. So this part is key. You don't want to do any selling. You never want to pre-assume their feelings. You want to make sure they know that they have control, and you want to change how they think about the situation. The next time you get an objection, do not worry. Apply what I showed you today, and you will never struggle with another objection again. Now, the next steps for you is if you want to learn more, you can go check out my full appointment setting course. That is totally free. It's about an hour long, and I post it on my YouTube channel. So if you want to go check that out, go ahead. Have a good rest of your day.